Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you an awesome interview. Today, I'm bringing you more of an awesome interview. This is one of the best interviews I think I've had on here for a long time. Someone that's from an awesome show. He has his own show on Ozzy's Boneyard called Metal Midgets, and that's not talking about the little people, no shape, form, or fashion. And he is the man who makes Eddie Trunk cringe when he pulls a question out that says, Eddie, I don't know how this question got in here, when he does Stump the Trunk, Mr. Jim Florentine. How you doing, Jim?
Good, man. Thanks for that intro. I hope I don't disappoint your listeners.
No, I don't think so, brother.
High expectations.
You've got several things going on right now. As we were just talking about, you're going to be at Rock on the Range this year coming up again. How many years does this make you on Rock on the Range? This is the second time you've been there or more?
Second. Last year was the first. Last year was the first time they had a comedy tent there, too. Yeah. So I was lucky to be a part of it. And then, I'm having to have me back this year. Don Jameson, who's also on that metal show, is going to be there, too. Jim Brewer, and I'm not sure the other comics. But it was amazing last year.
Now, working with Jim Brewer, how is it working with him? Because I love his stuff that he does. Have you ever done anything else with him other than Rock on the Range? Or?
Yeah, we did Orion Fest, a Metallica festival.
Okay. We
did that. They had like a comedy, just a side stage or whatever. And they had comics and bands on, and me, Jim, and Don Jameson did that show too. Mm-hmm. I've known Brewer for a long time. He's great, man. He's a phenomenal comic.
I seen the other night on that metal show, and this may be an older version of this, but I saw that you were talking about you was going to be on Californication. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a new season I'll be on. I'm in an episode. I play a pimp. Yeah, and then, I'm not sure when it airs. I think it starts in the spring, the new season. I'm going to be on that show, Girls. I'm on an episode of that, and then also Amy Schumer's show on Comedy Central.
What turned you from a metal head to a comedian? I wanted to talk to you about that because that was part of your description, but what's your take on that?
Well, because every guy in a band wants to be a comic, and every comic wants to be in a rock band. So I grew up listening to metal, and I just couldn't play an instrument. I tried. I just didn't have the ear for music, and I didn't have any time. I was a lefty, so all my friends were guitar players. So I'm like, teach me how to play. They're like, I can't turn the guitar around. Can you play righty? I'm like, no, I can only whack my bag on my right hand. I can't play a guitar. So I save it for that. I don't want to get carpal tunnel syndrome. I need that for a lot of lonely nights. When you're a metalhead and you're a teenager, you got a lot of lonely nights to get by yourself. Because you go to a party and you go, could you believe Bill Ward's out of Sabbath? To a chick you're trying to bang. Yeah. She wants nothing to do with that. She's dancing the friggin' hip hop, and I'm trying to tell her, well, why do you think Bill Ward left Sabbath? She's going to turn her back and bang the guy in a polo shirt that wants to dance with her. So I spent a lot of lonely nights, so I needed that right hand.
I'm also a lefty, too. I play left-handed as well, so I feel your pain. Trust me.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I just couldn't play an instrument. So I was like, I was started as a rock DJ in clubs, and I was on the radio for a little while. And then I just, I got into stand-up when I saw, Dice and Sam Kinison bring, a rock star attitude towards stand-up comedy. That really got me motivated to get up on stage and tell jokes.
Have you ever thought about, just like out of the blue, if Sam Kinison was still here, look at the stuff he would be doing today, possibly?
He'd be phenomenal. I think he'd still be on top of his game. He'd get in a lot of trouble for things he says because he was so outspoken. Yeah. Because, you can't be yourself and you can't have an opinion anymore.
That's true.
People latch it, but he'd still be great. I love Kinison.
And I don't think he'd let anybody tell him what to do either. He'd be like, hell no, I'll do what I want to do. If you don't like it, whatever.
He'd be like, okay, I don't need to do movies. I could do theaters and, and arenas and whatever and rock clubs and make my money and I'll be good, man. I got my loyal fan base, so F off.
Exactly. Jim, who were some of your favorite comedians that influenced you to say, okay, this is what I want to try to do?
Well, originally it was Rodney Dangerfield. I loved how he just made fun of himself, was quick one-liners. Richard Pryor, too. As a kid watching Pryor, I remember going to see him in the movie theater, one of his specials. I think it was Live at the Sunset Strip. He was awesome. And I wasn't a huge stand-up comedy fan, but I was always like a wise ass. And, but I did like those guys. And then when I saw Dice and Kinison come out, I'm like, man, when Dice is wearing a leather jacket and cracking dirty jokes, I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah. Smoking a cigarette and going on.
Exactly, yeah.
Where was the strangest place that you ever had a joke come to you that you said, oh, I got to write this down right now? Can you talk about that possibly?
Probably in the middle of banging a chick. You know what I mean? I had a great idea, and I'm trying to remember it because, sometimes you have an idea, you got to write it down or put it in your phone or do whatever right away, or you could lose that thought easily. Yeah. So in your middle of banging, and you're like, oh, man, I got to write that down, but you don't want to go reach for your phone or a pen and a paper.
Yeah.
Because she's going to take it personally. So, and then all of a sudden you're out of the moment, and you might lose your erection because you're thinking about something else.
Then Zach may come in and say you're doing it wrong.
What's that?
I said then Zach may come in and say you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I'd probably from there, and I'm just like, God, I got to remember that. And meanwhile, no, this is just awesome.
If you could pick a comedian tour, who all would you pick?
That's interesting.
And they don't have to be, it could be from past or now, or just your top 5 if you could.
What, to be a part of?
Yeah. If you had a comedian tour, who would you pick?
I guess, like Dice. I've had the honor of opening for Dice, and I'm actually friends with them now. So, but I still, Dice, Kinnison, Dangerfield, and me as the opening act. That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. Now, you've also got several CDs that's out right now, and you've got a new one that, it's kind of a new one. It's been out since 2012. Are you going to be putting out any more new stuff this year? Working on any new stuff right now? What's going on with that with you?
Yeah, I'm working on doing filming an hour special, either we're not sure yet, whether it be HBO, Comedy Central, Netflix, Epix. There's a bunch of different avenues to, where you can get it on. But we've been working on, getting the money, getting the crew, getting the producer and a theater and all that stuff. So I'll probably shoot it sometime in early summer, and then it'll be out in the fall, an hour stand-up special. And there'll probably be a CD with it. So, it'll be a DVD, CD type thing. It just takes time with that. So, to record an audio CD is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Like every 2 years, I'll have like a new 45 minutes or an hour, and I can do. And I've had it for a while, a new material since the last release. But I just, you want to make it more of a, an actual special, a TV one instead of just audio.
Yeah.
So then it just takes a little longer to do that.
Jim does his own podcast, which I think is cool as hell. Not only does he do VH1, that metal show, plus his comedian stuff, he does his podcast too. And it's Metal Midgets off of Ozzy's Boneyard. Let's talk about that a little bit, Jim, if you don't mind. Can people that's not listening or anything, give them a little bit of background on it?
It's just, it's basically like a radio show. It's about an hour, and I rant about different subjects. Sometimes I'll have different rock stars on an interview, but pretty much it's just me ranting about dumb stuff, whether it be like, awful Facebook posts. Like I'll go through Facebook page and look at the dumbest posts and just rip them apart.
Yeah.
Like, some guy posted like, sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. And I'm like, why? I looked at his page. He was 46 years old, married with 2 kids. Don't you have anything else going on in your life?
Yeah.
And to post something like that. What does that mean? Nobody commented on it. Nobody liked it. And the guy who kept looking at his phone or whatever, his computer, man, I thought I'd get a response on that. No, you're a grown man. Get some hobbies.
Go strip club.
Do something. But I just do stuff like that, and rail against the NFL and all the new rules and all the stuff they do and whatever's kind of topical or on my mind. So
now you got to do something very, very cool. You got to open for the American Carnage tour for Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer. How was that, man?
Look, if I wasn't on that metal show and people knew who I was, I would have never done it because I would have got killed. But I'd say like 70% of the crowd knew who I was from the show, so that helped. They gave you at least a minute or two before they started throwing shit. But I wound up pulling it off. I had to do like 3 5-minute sets in between each band. But I knew by the second or third date of the tour, I knew what kind of material to do that would get them real quick jokes, quick sex, drinking, drugs, rock jokes, making fun of hip hop, stuff like that kind of crowd would like. And, wound up pulling off. But it wasn't easy. Every night and every set was tough. You never know if the crowd was just going to turn on you because they don't want to hear a comic, and I get it.
Yeah.
But I was hired to do it, so what was I going to do?
Yeah, exactly. With each CD that you put out, do you find it's a lot harder to come up with new material, or since everything's been done, or what's your challenge on that?
No, I think it's, I just talk about what's going on in my life and what personally affects me, so I'm not worried about if something's been done before. Obviously, I'm not going to steal somebody's material, but if I have, my own take on the subject, then I'm just going to talk about it, because it personally affects me. So, no, there's a ton of material out there, always.
I want to turn to music a little bit here because it is on one of my favorite shows, and I just want to say thanks to you, Eddie and Don or I'm sorry, Jim is part of one of my favorite shows. I want to thank you guys for keeping that metal show alive and bringing metal to all of us fans who really, really love music. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah, no problem, man. We know we got a hardcore base of fans. People that like metal when they were a teenager and stuff, and now they're a little older and stuff, but they still dig that music. So, and they're loyal.
Yes.
They still go to the shows. They still find the music somehow and support it. So, we knew we had a niche audience with this.
It sucks. I mean, there's no Headbangers Ball no more. There's really no big time show that actually still puts it out there on TV anymore. It's like, oh, stay away from that. I just don't get it. I mean, metal bands are still out there thriving. They're still kicking ass. And to me, it seems like they're getting a more bigger audience.
People like more of a reality show train wreck. Yeah. They want like two ghetto chicks ripping each other's weaves off and screaming. You know what I mean? Like that will get 10 times more of a rating than us sitting with Steve Harris and talking to him for an hour, which is sad, but that's just the way, people like that. People want an escape. They just want, they want that stuff. But, look, we have our niche audience. We've been on for over 5 years, and we got a solid, nice audience. We're not, and we're on a good channel, VH1 Classic, where we don't have to worry about getting, super, big ratings and stuff. Like if we were on NBC right after The Voice or something like that, then we'd have to worry that we better get good ratings or we're going to get canceled real quick.
Right, right. What's it mean to you, Jim, to keep metal music alive?
Look, it's just good that, people are, it's tough to find music these days and everything else. It's nice that, people still find a passion in music. And I love when a guy brings his young kid to a show or, comes to one of my comedy shows. Like, man, my son's 10, he loves metal and he loves watching the show and stuff like that. I'm like, that's really cool that a father-son can bond on that kind of music. You can't really do it with pop music because pop music is, first of all, it's awful. And second of all, it's, whatever's popular now is 6 months from now is, no one's listening to that anymore. So it's just a kind of like a fly-by-night kind of shit. But metal is, you remember when you first bought your first Black Sabbath album or whatever, and, you can always, there's some good memories there. Someone listening to a Katy Perry song, oh, yeah, I remember, that was 2 summers ago. Yay, there's no memory there.
She's hot, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Friggin' what a rack on her.
Booyah.
Unbelievable.
Like I said, thank you guys for what you're doing for metal music, especially keeping it alive via the TV so that way we can see bands and stuff that we do like. Do you guys ever think you may have some on there to perform possibly in the future episodes maybe? Have y'all working on that maybe?
The thing is, we don't have a big budget for the show.
Okay.
And for a band to play their music now, they charge a lot because they're not really making it in record sales anymore.
Yeah.
When they were making it, selling a ton of records, they didn't care. They're like, hey, man, we'll play live, and it'll cost you basically nothing. But now that's the way they got to make money. So it screws up the budget. I mean, hopefully one day we'll be able to do it. But for now, they're just like, look, we just can't. We don't have the money.
Out of all the guests that you guys have had on there, and you've got to interview you, Eddie and Don, who would you say your favorite one has been so far?
Man, every year it changes because you get excited. Like, oh, man, this guy was so good. Brian Johnson was great from AC/DC.
Yeah.
He's just such a funny guy and, no attitude and no, who I am. He doesn't even realize that he's a singer in AC/DC, the biggest hard rock band in the world. Mm-hmm. He's just a regular guy that just, hangs out, doesn't come with security guys, doesn't have any handlers, and just shows up and hangs out and friggin' tells stories and is not worried about saying the wrong thing, and just a really funny guy. So
I saw that episode of him on there with you guys, and he was just so laid back and down to earth. It's just like he didn't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right. He acted like he had no clue he was in AC/DC. The biggest ones.
He totally respects the Bon Scott era music, and embraces it and all that stuff, and doesn't go, I don't want to sing that stuff. I want to sing my own stuff, all that. It's great.
Especially when he was talking about they did a show, I think it was like a anniversary show to Bon, or I guess when they kicked off the tour after Bon's passing, he wanted to do a big photo of Bon on the screen.
Yeah.
That speaks volume for someone to do that. I mean, that's just incredible.
I know. He's just a good dude.
I tell you what, Jim, I'll let you go because I know you got some stuff to do. But if you guys get a chance this year, please go to Rock on the Range in Columbus, Ohio. Jim is going to be there. He's going to be there with Don Jameson and Jim Brewer in the comedy team.
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to try my damnedest to be there and come meet you, man. Going to try to.
Let me know. Let me know. You got in touch with my people, my publicist or whatever. Let me know. I'll be at the comedy tent. I don't know what days I'm performing, but I always hang out afterwards and take pictures and stuff. But yeah, let me know. And
I also want to say this too before I let Jim off the line here. This man kicks ass because last year I think it was one of the festivals that you covered. He supports local bands to the fullest, and that's what I like about this man. And plus, he took several photos with little kids. That speaks volume, man.
Oh, always, man, because that kid is always going to remember that. It's funny.
Yeah.
My nephew's 15, and I bring him to all the shows now, and it's so cool how all the bands are really cool to him. Just this past week, M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold was on. He's a huge fan of that band, and also the band Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, man.
He came to the show, and the singer talked to him for like 15 minutes. In Five Finger Death Punch, I took him backstage over the summer, and the singer in the band, I told him, it's my nephew, he's 15. He's like, hey, man, you hungry? We're at like some barbecue backstage, and there was a huge line, people waiting. He's like, hey, I got a 15-year-old kid here who's hungry. Do you guys mind if I cut the line? Is everybody okay with it? Because he wants a hot dog and a soda, and we're going to grab something off the grill. Is everything cool? And he hung with them and talked to them for like 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
And that's something like a kid will never forget.
When I first started doing this in 2012, it's still solely based to get locals out there because I feel that there's not enough people promoting locals. And I think that sucks because these guys are just the same as anybody else. They work their asses off to get just a little break, man. And I hope I can do that for somebody.
But you know what? It's tough for the local bands because, a tribute band will draw more people.
Yeah.
Playing old, Doors stuff and stuff like that, and people want to go see that, and it's sad that the local bands have a tough time and to make money, to find venues to play, to get an audience. I know it's really tough for the local bands.
And Jim got me into Texas Hippie Coalition, so that's awesome.
You guys are great, man.
Hell yeah. Jim, before I let you go, how can people get a hold of you to say, hey, we love your comedy and we love you on that metal show? How can they do that?
Well, my website's jimflorentine.com, and then also, my podcast every week called Comedy Metal Midgets. You can go to my website and get that. Click on there, and you can get it. Listen to it for free. You can listen on your phone or whatever, or you can go to iTunes, up on iTunes every week. So, that's basically the places.
Everybody stick around. Also tune into that metal show. Check it out on VH1 Classic to see Jim, Don, and Eddie, and also Jim trying to make Eddie cringe as always. But you guys have a good time on there, man, and I wish I can get Eddie on here. I've sent many emails to try to get him, but nothing so far, but I'll eventually get him on here, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll mention it to him, to try to get on to do the show.
I appreciate it, man. Before I let you go, Jim, will you care to do a promo for me?
Sure, no problem, man.
Just say this is Jim Florentine from That Metal Show, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey, this is Jim Florentine from VH1 Classics, That Metal Show, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Nice.
Thank you, Jim, so much, man. You guys have been a really big influence on me for me to start my own show because I was really not wanting to do it, and then I started seeing you guys, and the more information I got from you all, and just the more I started loving it, I said, you know what? The hell with it, I'm going to do it.
That's awesome, man.
So thank you guys. You guys have been a big influence with me.
Cool, man. Thanks, man. It was good talking to you, and hopefully I'll see you at the Rock and Range.
Yeah, I'll get up with Meredith and send her some information if I do get to come that way, and hopefully get to meet you guys.
Awesome.
All right, Jim, have a good one, brother.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, later. Everybody stick around. We got some music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Have a good one.